Have you ever felt something was wrong deep in your bones, even when your mind told you everything was fine? I've always trusted my body more than my thoughts. A gut feeling, a shiver down the spine. Those are the real truths, and my body started sending me signals long before the fear truly began to set in. It began subtly, a tingling under my skin, like a limb falling asleep, but all over. At first, I dismissed it. Just a long day, right? But as the sun went down and the world grew quiet, the sensation intensified. It wasn't just tingling anymore. Lachiachi night, it became a warm, crawling feeling, as if tiny, unseen things were methodically tracing paths just beneath the surface. One night, I couldn't ignore it. It was well past midnight, and the feeling was so distinct, so present. I lifted the sleeve of my pajamas, my heart starting to pound in my throat, and there it was, faint, glowing patterns, pulsing with a soft, ethereal light. They weren't random. They were geometric, intricate, almost like the circuitry on a microchip. I stared, mesmerized and horrified, as they flickered for a moment before sinking back down, disappearing completely beneath my skin. I told myself it was stress, exhaustion, my mind playing tricks on me in the dead of night. It had to be. When I woke up the next morning, my skin looked completely normal. No marks, no glow, nothing. I almost convinced myself I had dreamt the entire thing. The memory felt hazy, like a half-forgotten nightmare. I went about my day, pushing the unsettling image to the back of my mind, desperate to believe in the mundane reality of daylight. But the night always returns. The second night, the sensations came back, but they were different. Colder, stronger. It felt less like a gentle crawl, and more like an icy current flowing through my veins. The light that followed was brighter, more insistent. This time, the patterns were clearer, revealing unfamiliar symbols and glyphs that seemed ancient and alien at the same time. And then something new, a silent, internal whisper. It wasn't a voice I heard with my ears, but a signal I felt in my mind, a pure, raw stream of information that I couldn't decipher, but I could feel its presence, its intent. My body froze. I was completely paralyzed, lying in my bed, a prisoner in my own skin. I tried to scream, to move, to do anything, but I was powerless. My breathing slowed, becoming shallow and rhythmic. My heartbeat, which had been hammering against my ribs, suddenly calmed and began to synchronize with the pulsing light on my skin. A slow, steady, unnatural rhythm. Thump glow, thump glow. The morning brought a cruel sense of relief. Again, the light vanished. The paralysis lifted. I could move, I could breathe normally, but this chimi, the fear didn't fade with the dawn. It clung to me, a cold, heavy blanket. I knew I wasn't dreaming. I knew something was happening to me. I went to the doctors. I went to multiple doctors. I described the tingling, the glowing, the paralysis. They ran every test imaginable. Blood work, Mr. Is neurological exams. The results came back yen each Timmy. The verdict was the same. You're perfectly healthy. Medically, I was in peak condition. One doctor gently suggested it was a manifestation of severe anxiety. He offered me a prescription. I insisted, my voice cracking with desperation. This is not in my head. This is real. They just gave me pitying looks. How do you explain the impossible to people who only believe in the proven? That dismissal was almost worse than the symptoms themselves. I felt completely alone, trapped with a terrifying secret that no one would believe. The world saw me as healthy, maybe a little stressed, but I knew. I knew the night was coming, and I was terrified of what it would bring next. The third night. The third night was the turning point. The sensations were no longer just on the surface. They were deep, powerful, and transformative. As the light bloomed across my body, my skin began to ripple like the surface of disturbed water. I looked at my reflection in the dark window, and my pupils were wide, black, swallowing the color of my irises. My fingers began to twist, not painfully, but with a horrifying purpose. The joints shifted, the bones subtly elongating, adapting into new shapes I didn't recognize. The internal whisper I'd heard before was no longer a whisper. It was a hua, a deafening, silent broadcast flooding my consciousness. I collapsed to the floor, overwhelmed, and then my skin split, not with a cut, but like a seam opening. For a brief, terrifying moment, a brilliant light shone from within my body. There was no blood, no gore, just pure white light. Through my translucent flesh, I could see my own bones, my nerves, my entire system laid bare, everything glowing and being. Hirite, it felt like I was being mapped, cataloged, and upgraded from the inside out. The process seemed to last an eternity. Just as dawn began to break, the light receded, the seam on my skin closed without a scar, and the internal roar quieted to a low hum. Movement returned to my limbs. I shakily pulled myself up and stumbled to the bathroom mirror. I didn't scream. I was too far beyond that. The person staring back was me, but not me. My eyes held a faint, residual glow. And even in the bright morning light, if I looked closely, I could see the shimmering, shifting patterns of the circuitry, still moving just beneath the surface of my skin. They weren't hiding anymore. They were part of me now. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to sleep because I know that each night the transformation gets stronger, more permanent. With every sunset, I lose a little more of myself and become a little more of something else. This isn't an infection. It's not a disease. I've come to a chilling realization. This is an alteration, and for some reason, I was chosen. If this story has made you look over your shoulder, if it's left you with a sense of unease, then you're in the right place. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in our philosophy. Stay with us. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and whatever you do, never look away from the unknown. There's more to come.